This tutorial is a brief introduction to help you get started on your Heart and Arrow project in Frames. You can access Frames by clicking on the desktop icon that says Frames. It's a red icon and you'll see it. Once you open it up, you will see a blank frame in front of you, which will become the first frame of your Heart and Arrow project. In the upper right, we're going to look at the Tool section, and if we hover over each tool, a pop-up will show you what each tool does. And we're going to go to the fourth one over that says Add a Shape to the Frames. We'll click on it, and you can see as we scroll down there are a bunch of different shapes. We're going to click on the arrow, come over to our blank frames, and draw an arrow. You can see that after I release the arrow, there are handles along the side that will let me resize, reshape that arrow. And there's a circle at the top that allows me to rotate. And we saw that same rotate tool in our project when we worked with Microsoft Word. Go back to the same spot over on the right. I'm going to add a different shape, and that is going to be the heart. So if you scroll down, you'll see that heart. Draw that heart, give it a nice size out on your frames, and you can see again we can rotate that and we can make it bigger by pulling on our handles. I'm going to give some color now to that heart. On the right side, again in that Tools box area, we see something called the stroke, and it's checked off. That's the outline. If I uncheck it, the outline around the outside of the heart goes away. Currently it's set to black, but if I click that box of black, I can choose a different color for the outline. Below that, I can also change the width, make it thicker if I'd like. And then there is an area underneath that says solid color. There's a white box after the word color. If I click on that, I can add different colors. So maybe I can do a red heart, or I will change it. Maybe let's just do a blue color here. So that's our first frame. We're already complete. The next thing we're going to do is move up to the middle area in the top part of your screen, and you'll see a couple of buttons. The New button adds a new blank frame. The Clone button duplicates that first frame, and the Scenes is going to group selective frames and sounds into a scene, which we're not going to use at this time. I'm going to hit the Clone button, and we can see down at the bottom in the View area, this is sort of like our storyboard area, we can see that the second frame looks identical to the first. On the right, there's an option that says Onion Skin. I'm going to click that box, and just like the onion, it allows us some transparency between frames. What I mean by that is, as long as I'm clicked on the second frame, I can click on the arrow and move it out of the way, and this is where the arrow is in the first frame. It's kind of like a shadow of that arrow from the first frame. I will not see the onion skin option unless I have at least 2 frames. So on my second frame, the option will appear that I can click the onion skin. I'm going to move that second arrow back on top of the frame first arrow and move it up just a little bit. And then I'm going to repeat the process. Click on Clone, and then on the third frame, I'm going to move that arrow up a little more, clone it again, and I'm going to follow the same process. What's going to slowly happen is the arrow will move up towards the heart, and then what you'll need to do is decide what's going to happen when that arrow actually hits the heart. So right now I only have about 6 frames down here at the bottom, and they're all set. The duration, the time that these are going to run, are at 0.5 seconds for each frame. That's a half a second and very slow. I'll show you what that looks like. I'm going to hit the rewind, and I will turn off the onion skin so we don't see those shadows when we play it. When I play it, you will see, once I rewind it, you will see that it moves very slowly towards the heart. My heart is also a little bit out of the way. It could probably be higher, or my arrow could be a little bit lower, so it looks like it's on track. Probably at this point the arrow might have to take a right-hand turn. Again, let me rewind it, and you can see it kind of chugs up towards the heart. Very, very slow. So what we need to do is change the duration of how fast these frames move. I'm going to click on the last frame, and if I hold my Shift key down, I can click on the first frame, or I can use my Control-A keys to select all the frames. My duration for all of them is set at 0.5. If I move that little bar just a little bit to the right and then all the way to the left, I see that it is set to 0.1 seconds. This is the normal speed that your movie should run. The only time we would slow down a particular slide or several slides is if we have text written on those slides, and then we'd have to slow them down. Otherwise, at 0.1, we'd never be able to read very quickly what you're trying to tell us on those frames. So you do have to move everything to 0.1 unless you have text. Let's take a look at it now. I'll rewind, and this is normal speed. It's very quick. So what's going to happen is you'll keep moving that heart up towards the arrow. When it gets near the arrow, or near the heart, you're going to have to decide what happens. Does the heart dodge the arrow? Does the heart hit the arrow? What's going to happen? I'm going to show you a couple of examples of what kids did in class, and then I'm going to show you a couple here right now. This heart and arrow is a quick example of something that happens once the arrow hits the heart, and you can see that the heart exploded and a lot of little hearts fell out. It was very quick, so let me rewind and show it once more. This next example is pretty clever because the outcome is not what you expect. And I think the dance at the end kind of adds to the creativity. It's pretty good. I want to point out that there's a lot of other icons and pictures that you can add in the upper right of your screen. If we're in the Tools tab, we'll go ahead and click on the Library tab, and you can see that there's a lot of clip art. If I go into the Animals folder, I can find some farm animals, and there's a chick. I can drag it over and drop it. And just like the other objects that you've already played with, you can resize it and rotate. So there's a lot of little things that you can find over in the clip art area. And later on, I'll show you how you can have your own pictures and bring those in as well. If I hit this green arrow, I'm going to move back to the top level where I saw the clip art. There are various backgrounds you can look at, characters. Transitions we're not going to use right now. They're a little bit difficult to work with. But later on, we will see that there are sounds that you're going to insert, and you'll also learn how to record your voice because your big movie does have to have some narration. When we're done with the heart and arrow, we do have to color the background, and you can do this at any time by clicking on the tools. Find a color that you would like for your background, and I'll probably go with a nice light yellow. And you can see that it's only done it on the last frame. But if I hit the Apply to All Frames, it will fill in all the others. Likewise, there's kind of an interesting thing you can try up here, linear gradient. It kind of gives it a different look, and radial, also a different look there. Remember to apply to all frames so that you can see it on all frames. So this is just a brief introduction for you to start your Heart and Arrow project. It's not worth a lot of points, so please don't spend more than a day working on this because we want the maximum amount of time saved up for your final movie. I'll be showing more examples in class, but this is just to help you get started.